Alrighty, video time. Multiplying polynomials should not be hard. We'll find out though. Alrighty, let me get my little pen. I think I shall use, I need new colors. These are boring. Red. Want it to be thin. Okay, multiplying polynomials. This is what we were just doing with monomials, and now we're multiplying polynomials. And I'm going to show you 3 different ways to do this, and you pick which way is easiest. The first way would be to use like algebra tiles, which we have not used and you probably haven't used very much. But basically how they would work is, if you remember algebra tiles, x looks like that, and 1 looks like that. And these are all positive, so even though mine are all red, they're all going to be the same. So you would take 2x plus 4, and you would draw 2 bars, and then you would draw 4 little tiny ones. And then on the other side, you're going to draw 1 bar for the x. So here's my x, and here's my 2x plus 4. So basically, I'm just going to fill in where they cross. So to fill it in, oh heck, I will change colors. To fill it in, if I do x times 2x, I end up with big squares, which happen to be x squared. And then my long bars turn into x's. So I end up with 2x squared plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 4x. So my answer is 2x squared plus 4x. And you can do it that way, or you don't have to, but that's one way to do it and think about it. Okay, algebraically, when you look at x times 2x plus 4, think about distributing. So I'm going to end up with x times 2x plus x times 4. X times 2x is going to be 2x squared plus 4x. Same answer. So for algebraically, I'm multiplying monomials and monomials. So I'm just adding together monomials. Okay, one last way to think about organizing these is to make kind of like a chart. So I'm going to put my monomial over here. And I like to look more like a chart. I'm going to separate out my 2a and my 3b. So when I multiply 5a times 2a, I end up with 2a, 10a squared. And 5a times 3b is 15ab. So basically I just distributed, but I, took apart my numbers, my terms, so that I could focus on one term at a time. So my answer is going to be 10a squared plus 15ab. So let's do the next one. We're going to put 3x over on the side. We're going to put 4x up here, and we're going to put negative 2y up there. Hope it doesn't look like a division problem because it's not. So I'm multiplying 3x times 4x, which gives me 12x squared. And I have 3x times negative 2y, which makes minus 6xy. And I'm going to put my negative sign up there so I remember when I'm putting it all back together that there's a minus sign right there. So my answer is 12x squared minus 6xy. Okay, so I'm just going to distribute from now on. If I was distributing, I would end up with 3x times 4x minus 3x times 2y, which would be 12x squared minus 6xy. So I'm just going to distribute from now on, but know that I just showed you 3 different ways to do it. So you do it whichever way works best for you. Number 4, my monomial is on the right, but I'm still doing the same thing. So I'm going to have 0.5 times 0.5 is 0.25. xy plus 0.5 y squared. Yeah, that's 0.25, whatever. Okay, so here's my answer. 0.25 xy plus 0.5 y squared. Technically, I should flip them around because you always put the biggest exponent first. So technically, that's the answer. Okay, and then we just get into kind of bigger monomials, but we're still distributing. And if you want to make that chart, I certainly understand, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to multiply. So -3 times 3 is -9, and I have 3 x's and 2 y's. And then -3 times 6 is -18, and I have 2 x's and 2 y's. And -3 times 5 is +15, and I have 2 x's and 3 y's. Now, we're supposed to find simplest form, and I have 3 terms, but none of them are alike. My exponents tell me that these 3 terms are all different because my exponents are not the same. So that's all I can do, and this would be my answer. Okay? Okay. So I'm always looking for if my exponents are the same, if my terms are the same, so I can combine them. But right now they're not going to be. So here's my 12 n to the 5th power, because there's 5 n's, plus 4 times 5 is 20, n to the 4th, minus 8n squared. And again, because I have different exponents on my n's, I cannot combine any of my terms. Okay, number 7, we're going to start having like terms. So I'm going to distribute all these guys, and then I'm going to distribute all these guys. So I end up with 2b to the 3rd power. 2 times 4 is 8, and I have b times b is b squared. And I have 2 times 8 is 16, and I have 1b. Then I have minus 3 times 3 is 9, and I have 3b's. And 3 times 9 is 27, it's minus, and I have b squared. And then minus 3 minus 18 makes plus. 18 and 18 is 36, plus 18 is 46, 54. And there's 1b down here at the end. So what I'm going to do to combine my like terms is I'm going to take all this stuff right here, and I'm going to put it underneath the term that it matches. So if I have 9b to the 3rd power and 2b to the 3rd power, I'm going to put my minus 9b to the 3rd here, my minus 27b squared here, and my plus 54b here. So I just took all this and put it underneath, because now I've stacked my terms and my like terms are together, and it's easy for me to see, oh, I have 2b to the 3rd minus 9b to the 3rd, which would be negative 7b to the 3rd. 8b squared minus 27b squared is going to be minus 19b squared. And 16b plus 54b is going to be 54, 64, 70b. So now I've combined my like terms and simplified as much as I can. Yeah, there we go. All right, number 8. Distributing, and then I'm going to stack them and put them together, combine. So 4 times 2 is 8 r to the 3rd, minus 4 times 3 is 12 r squared, 4 times 5 is 20 r, plus 6 times 4 is 24 r to the 3rd, plus 12r squared. 6 times 8 is 48r. So I'm going to take this part right here. I'm going to put it underneath, and so I'm going to have 24r to the third plus 12r squared plus 48r. 8 plus 24 is 32, r to the third. Remember, we're just adding the coefficients. We're not changing the exponents when we add, only when we multiply. That cancels out to 0. And 20 plus 48 is 48, 58, 68. So there's my answer. Okay. This one, number 9, I'm going to make my, I'm going to leave them as fractions initially, because remember when I'm multiplying a whole number times a fraction, it's basically like this is over 1, right? So my first number is going to be negative 5x squared over 25. I should put my 5x squared where that 1 was. But then I also have that x squared, so I need to remember that it's like a numerator. Then I have minus negative 5 and negative 1 over 25. So that's going to end up being plus 5x squared over 25. And then there's that extra x. And then my last one's going to be, oops, negative minus 5x squared over 5. So now I can simplify and kind of look at what I have. My first one's negative, and I end up with 1 over 5 x, and I have 2 x's and 2 more x's, so that's x to the fourth. And I have 1 over 5 again, and I have x squared plus another x makes x to the third. And then I have minus 1 x squared. So there's my answer. Now we get to the fun ones. Word problems, yay! Okay, so we got a rectangle. The length of one side is 3 meters less than, means I move my minus 3 down here, twice the width. So this is 2w minus 3, and this is w. And I'm looking for area, so I'm going to multiply them together. Distribute. And I'm done. That's all I can do. So for number 11, we're going to subtract this area. So we're going to find the area of the big one and subtract the area of the small one. So the area of the big one is going to be 3x times 4x minus 6. And then when I'm done with that, I'm going to subtract x times x, because that's the little one. So I have 12x squared minus 18x minus x squared. So I can take my x squared and put it under here. And I end up with 11x squared minus 18x. There you go. Oh, that wasn't so hard. Okay, now we're going to get to the hard one. All right. So we're doing the area of a trapezoid, which is 1/2 b1 plus b2 times h. So I'm going to go ahead and, even though we know the inches, I'm going to go ahead and solve this, get it as simplified as I can, and then I'm going to put my 18 in, which would make it easier for me. So, because especially since I know what comes next. So I'm going to have 1/2, and I'm going to move my h over here, because I have h plus 1 is b1 plus 2h plus 4. All right, so I'm going to keep my 1/2 h, and I have h plus 2h is 3h plus 5. Okay, so if I multiply, and actually I'm going to leave my, I could just leave it like that. Okay, let's leave it like that. Okay, so I have 1/2 18 times 3 times 18 plus 5. So if I work that out on my calculator, I have, I guess I'll do it over here. 9 times 3 times 18 is 54 plus 5. 9 times 59 equals 531. So she needs to buy the 600 square inch roll to cover her thing. Okay, that wasn't so bad. But of course it gets a little trickier. Okay, so what if she can only buy 400 feet? We want to know the maximum height. Well, so basically what I just did is I had 1/2 h times 3h plus 5, and h was 18, and that equals 531. If I only can make it equal 400, then my h is going to have to change. The one thing I can do is I can multiply both sides by 2 to get rid of that 1/2. So that would be 1. So now I have 800 equals h times 3h plus 5. And we're just going to guess and check because we are not going to solve these kind of problems yet, but we will soon. So I'm going to make a little chart. So I have h and I have area, and I know that if h is 18, then my area is 531, and I want less than that. If I'm going to pick 10 because I know 10 is easy. If I have 10, then I have 10 times 30 plus 5, and 10 times 35 is 350. So the question is there something in between that's closer to 400 but doesn't go over? So let's try 12. Just guessing and checking. Oops, that's not 30 anymore. It's 36 plus 5. I'm going to have to get my calculator out for this. 36 plus 5 is 41 times 12. 492. Oh, wait a minute. That's too much. Okay, so let's try 11. Because I can only do 400. I bet 10's the one. 11, that's 33 plus 5 is 38. So 11 times 38 is 418. So 10 is the maximum height for the board if she has to buy the 400 square inch roll. Ah, crud. Oh, because it's 400 square inches, and I was just thinking, what? That should be square inches. Yeah, because that doesn't make sense at all. Okay, so 10 it is. There you go. Relatively straightforward, and that's it.